Just Greeks and Beats, Episode 2, Hellas, Hellas, where art thou, Hellas? Guys, and welcome to episode 2 of Just Greeks and Beats, a cheeky and fun podcast with plenty of history and facts about the world of Greeks by an Australian-born Greek living in diaspora and his connection to the motherland. Remember that word, guys, diaspora, as this episode will mention it a bit later. I sincerely hope that you are all staying safe with all the crazy stuff happening around us at the moment and around the world with COVID-19. Hopefully, you have plenty of time on your hands to catch up on all my podcasts. As mentioned in my pilot, this is not just a podcast for Greeks, but also every other nationality that one day wishes to visit the beautiful and amazing land of Greece and all its islands, its beaches, its ancient architecture, its holy places of worship, and its amazing and tasty marketplaces and places to eat. Guys, take my podcast as a guide into the many wonderful things and opportunities that Greece has to offer. Every episode in this series, we will deliver 2 regular things. 1, a quick recap on the previous episode, sometimes with a little bit more of a brief extension on that info. And 2, a history or cultural session on Greece. Each episode will also have a short language section and a finish off with some cheeky fun. Although I have been an MC and a radio show host for years, I'm still very new to podcasting and may come across a bit shaky at times. Even though I feel like I have studied a lot about the format and context of how a podcast should be constructed, I am still just an everyday Costa Kostaki that does not make mistakes from time to time. Hey, I can even be a Damian Spiriadis and, have a bit of a delay. Old school joke. Okay, now, moving on to the recap. For those that are following the series, episode 1 was a brief about me and the reasons why I am doing this series. You learn about my beginnings and what made me who I am and where I found my passions. I am a very passionate person when it comes to Hellenic culture, Hellenic tradition, and Hellenic music and food. Above all, however, I am a very passionate person when it comes to a community and social service. I believe that every human can thrive in a good community. To me, a community is more than just a group of people who share something in common. You can define a community by the shared attributes of people in it or by the strength of the connections among them. You need a bunch of people who are alike in some way to feel some sense of belonging or interpersonal connection. A common definition of community can be a group of people with diverse characteristics who are linked by social ties, share common perspectives, and engage in joint action and activities in a geographical location or in an environment. This is the traditional overview of a community, which in today's society has become a lot more progressive, and a community is not only a physical membership, but can be in the form of an online community, for example. In the current times that we are experiencing, this is an important form of community as we cannot physically be around one another. When I speak about community, however, my meaning is physical involvement and being present in that environment with many other people who may be like-minded or people who may have a need to be part of that community for social and mental health reasons. Being a member and a part of a community really does play a massive role in good, strong mental health. Okay, let's have a quick look at the Greek community in Australia. Australia has the 3rd largest Greek diaspora in the world. The meaning of diaspora is the movement, migration, or dispersion of any people away from their established or ancestral homeland. My parents made a life in the diaspora, and although I am Australian born, I consider myself part of that diaspora. Greek people constitute one of Australia's longest settled migrant populations. It should be noted that those Greeks who have been settled in Australia for decades may have a different understanding of cultural customs that those born and living in Greece today. While many Greek Australians hold on to what they call ta ethi mamas, our culture and traditions, what constitutes Greek tradition varies and blurs with every generation and may not absolutely reflect the descriptions in this profile. Today, the Greeks-born population of Australia is quite elderly, and their children, like many of my generation, would speak and understand Greek fluently. But their grandchildren, however, may not have been formally taught the Greek language, history, and culture. Nevertheless, the Greek community generally keeps particularly strong ties to their homeland, identity, and culture. The language continues to be a mainstay for most, with 90% of first-generation migrants continuing to speak Greek at home. Eastern Orthodox Christianity, or better known as the Greek Orthodox faith, also remains especially important to the older generations of Greeks, the Australian Greeks, or the Greek Australians, ones that were born overseas and came and made a life here in Australia. In episode 1, I also touched on a word, or as you may have learnt, a feeling called Gephi. This is a major part of me. This is the one feeling that makes me get up each day. It is what allows me to be who I am and to love the music which I play to crowds or on radio to ensure people are having a great time. It is one word that excites me so much that it oozes out of me, even recording this podcast. Gephi can be translated to fun or cheerfulness, which many Greek people consider Gephi to be a uniquely Greek characteristic. All right, let's move on to a little bit of history of the beautiful land that I call Greece, that we all call Greece, Elada. The title of this episode is Hellas, Hellas, Where Art Thou, Hellas? I'm so sorry for the Shakespearean lingo. Trust me, I failed dramatically in classical studies. You know, Mr. Panagopoulos and his classical studies, no, zero, done. I had no idea what I learned in that class. Hellas. Hellas is the name that Greeks use when referring to their country. In simpler terms, Hellas means Greece in Ellinika. That's Greek for Greek language. In Greek, the country is called Elada. From here we obtain Hellas or Hellas. Those names in turn trace their origin from Grecus, the Latin adaptation of the Greek name Grekos. It is unclear why the Romans called the country Grecia and its people Greki, but the Greeks called their land Hellas and themselves Hellenes. Greece, officially known as the Hellenic Republic, is a country bordering Albania, Bulgaria, and Turkey. Its territory includes thousands of islands scattered throughout the Aegean Sea, the Ionian Sea, and the Mediterranean Sea, the biggest of which is Crete. Greece has gained a global reputation due to the legacy of its ancient roots, particularly in the Western philosophy. Greeks continue to pay homage to this heritage, as well as their more current national identity that centers around the Eastern Orthodox Christian tradition. Many aspects of Greek society have had to adapt to the pressures of the 21st century. However, family, solidarity, generosity, and interdependence remain deeply important to people's lives. Lively conversation and sincere, rational, democratic debates continue to be an integral part of how Greeks interact with one another. After all, us Greeks were the creators of democracy and politics, thanks to the father of Athenian democracy, Cleisthenes, who orchestrated the first ever democracy in 508 BC. Greek society is deeply patriotic. People generally express strong feelings of cultural superiority and national pride. An association is often made between Greek culture and the famous philosophers and thinkers of ancient Greece. Though this is an outdated representation of the modern day Greece, the culture still values rational debate and thoughtful reflection. Intellect is greatly admired and often the determiner of social status. Decisions based on reason are highly respected by society, and healthy rational argument is enjoyed. As such, the Greeks are passionate and are animated debaters. They often like to test their intelligence by attempting to persuade others with strongly held opinions, perhaps creatively drawing upon knowledge of a wide variety of subjects to make this their case. It is common to see kavgades, meaning matches or arguments, erupt on the street. Trust me, I get into kavgades every day. If it's not with my children, if it's not with my work colleagues, it's with my parents, it's with just general people around me. Kavgades. It's part of Greek life. These impassioned discussions may provide brief entertainment for onlookers, but generally end without hard feelings and lingering emotions. That's why Greek people are very good at being very angry at their wife during the day, but by the time they're in bed, it's all over, forgotten. Sleep on it, next day wake up like nothing ever happened. Trust me, happens in my household. To fully understand the Greek communication style, one must appreciate their love for discussion. Kefi. There is that word again, guys. Kefi refers to the contentment, the bliss and joy one feels when a moment is so overwhelmingly enjoyable that they are transported by it. The Greeks recognize kefi arising when engaging in conversation with good company and becomes particularly delightful and fulfilling. As such, they may enter and initiate discussion, hoping it will stimulate them and achieve a lot of kefi. Over the following episodes, we will touch on the core fundamental characteristics and beliefs and concepts of a Greek person. These are pride, interdependence, philotimo, reason, leisure, hospitality, sincerity. Many of these were taught to me by my parents and my only yaya, grandmother. The only grandparent I was ever fortunate to get to meet in person and to know. Yaya Nicoleta to me was the matriarch of my domain. She taught me many lessons in life that will never be forgotten. This is how many of my friends and family felt growing up. The lessons taught to us by our grandparents were more engaging and life-connecting than what we were ever taught in school. If you have a Greek friend, there is without any doubt that they would say stuff like, "My yaya makes the best tiropita or the best pasticho," or "My yaya would take me to church every Sunday." And now that she's not around, I continue that and I go weekly to light her a candle. It's stuff like this that connects us back to our ancestry roots. Okay, so before this episode wraps up with a bit of fun, let's have a quick language lesson that the non-Greek listeners can take away and you can impress your friends. Trust me, this stuff's going to get good. A simple greeting and getting to know you lesson. Γεια σου, με λένε Χρυσοβαλάντης. Hello, my name is Χρυσοβαλάντης. Γεια σου is a commonly used word for hello and for goodbye, just like the Italians would use ciao. In later episodes, we're going to talk more in depth about proper greetings, i.e. good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Γεννήθηκα στην Αδελαΐδα. I was born in Adelaide. Η σύζυγός μου λέγεται Σταυρούλα. My wife is named Stavroula. I is feminine. If you are a female and wanted to introduce your husband, it would be O. So, O σύζυγός μου λέγεται. My husband is named. Okay, continuing on. Έχουμε δύο παιδιά, τον Δημήτρη και τον Θανάση. We have two children, James and Thanasi. Again, when talking about our children, the word don would be din if referring to girls. For example, έχουμε δύο παιδιά, την Maria και την Sofia. We have two daughters, Maria and Sophia. So just recapping what we just learned there. Very basic intro and greeting. Γεια σου, με λένε Χρυσοβαλάντης. Hello, my name is Χρυσοβαλάντης. Γεννήθηκα στην Αδελαΐδα. I was born in Adelaide. Η σύζυγός μου λέγεται Σταυρούλα. My wife is named Stavroula. Έχουμε δύο παιδιά, τον Δημήτρη και τον Θανάση. We have two children, James and Thanasi. All right, now for some fun. This is where we can get a little bit cheeky. After each episode, I'm going to throw out a few Greek jokes and link it back to a bits of the current episode. All right, so here are the top 10 things to watch out for when you question if you are Greek. 1. I love these. All right, 1. You make frappe before leaving home. When getting to the office, after lunch, when having guests, before the guests leave, after the guests leave, and before going to bed. Yes, that's true. Greeks do not get affected by caffeine that much, hence why it is a staple in every Greek's diet. Number 2, you still have clothes that you used to wear when you were 5 stored in a suitcase. It's true. I still have my christening outfit. I still have my Greek national costume, my tsolia. And I still have quite a few of the clothes that I wore when I was young. And my wife is not letting me pass them down to my kids. Number 3, you call an older person you've never met before Theo, that's Greek for uncle, or Thea, Greek for auntie. All right, so number 4, you hide everything from your parents, but they still think that they know everything about you and make you believe that they actually do. It's not true. To this day, my parents think that the little car crash I had down on Moringi Avenue when I first got my Holden VN Commodore was caused by some people running me off the road. It actually was just caused because of my own stupidity and I was showing off to my mates, but hey, I don't need to know that. 5, you learn how to beg the personnel at the airport to allow the excess baggage you've got as soon as your father stops doing that for you. It's true. 6, when you arrive home from a holiday, you find 20 people waiting for you at the airport. Yep, even if it's interstate. 7, every time you go to your village in Greece, you meet relatives you never knew existed and they look nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, like your family. 8, your relatives alone could populate a small city. This is true. This is true. A whole village is a city in Greece. Number 9, you ask your dad a simple question and he tells you a story about how he had to walk miles just to get to school every day with no shoes. Yep, good old dad. 10, your father always finds a way to connect every single word back to the Greek language. Trust me, guys, don't look any further. Go and grab yourselves a copy of My Big Fat Greek Wedding and you understand exactly what I mean. And of course, there are plenty more funny stuff that make you know that you're Greek, help you understand that you're Greek. But we're going to leave it there for now because I'm positive that you will have had enough of my voice by now. Hey, thanks again for tuning in. In the next episode, we're going to discuss a little bit more about culture and include a music component to bring the beat part of the podcast into life. I'll also let you know about my top 10 reasons why I'm proud to be Greek. That is going to be a cheeky cracker. Don't forget that you can also tune into my weekly radio shows where I get to play all the new, loved and classic Greek beats over 2 hours of live stream fun via facebook.com/Gephi Live Radio and Gephi Live on YouTube. As always, this is Valandi, and I will keep your Gephi streaming.